Hey everybody, I'm Tish Hicks, the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, and I am here with Dan Lenard, our Techno Sensei, this is
Hi there. Okay. No.
this is the monthly Ask the Sensei webinar. It's a free webinar that we do the first Wednesday of every month, allowing you, the voiceover community, to ask any questions that you have. How can we help you? I love this call because we get a really nice blend of everyone who is somewhere on their voiceover journey, from I don't know to working pro. If you haven't been on a Zoom call before, let me just give you a quick tour. Because we're working in webinar format, we're going to be having you guys interact mostly through typing. So the things you need to know about are the question and answer box on the bottom, in the bottom of the menu bar at the bottom. That's where we'll be taking your questions. So if you have one already, please put it in. And then also, if you have comments about anything, you can put it in the chat. If you're just coming on the call, I have a poll up. I like to get a sense of what level of folks we're working on, so we know what level to focus the answers to. Because we always want to be pushing forward and getting you the information you need at the level that you need it. But we also don't want to, take into account to explain something else if someone is not working at that level. But it seems like we've got a good experience, blend of experienced people here. So this is great. So Dan, how are you?
Yes.
You ready to take some questions?
I'm always ready to take questions.
Awesome.
It's all I do all day.
The answer man. Okay. So Pat has a question. Before taking on clients, should you establish an LLC? What's your opinion?
I've been doing this for like 15 years.
You've frozen
to establish anything. I'm freezing?
A little bit. It's coming in and out.
I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never had occasion to form an LLC. I've been a DBA for all that time, and I'm always like wondering, well, what possible liability would you have as a voice actor? I mean, you're not going to cause anybody harm unless your voice is hurting people. The person to really ask that, or a good suggestion, is to get Rob Siglampaglia's book, Voiceover Legal, which you can get from they only sponsor our show, Voiceover Extra, or from Rob. Just type in Voiceover Legal, and that question, I believe, is answered in there. I know I have a copy of it around here somewhere.
And that's easier than spelling Skimpaglia.
Siglampaglia.
Siglampaglia.
S-C-I, or no, S-I-C, it's S-I-G-L-I-M-P-A-L-I-G-A.
Great.
Or G-I-A or something like that. He'll kill me when he finds me spelling.
Yeah. So that's a great resource. And in terms of in general, I think the more, I think it might be something to talk to your accountant with as well. I think the more that you can be started, running your voiceover business like you're running any other business, and approaching it that way, covering all the bases, makes a lot of sense. Do you need to do that before you take on clients? Not necessarily, but the more you have all your ducks in a row as a business, I think that's a good thing. And then having your accountant way where where the tax benefits might be of being incorporated or not. So let us know if you have any further questions. Oh, there we go. Pat's that has a thing. Excellent. Great. Good. So we answered that live. So Brittany asks, finding LA auditions. Other than being with an agent, are there places to find auditions and book work? Brittany's just moved down from the Seattle market.
And now she's here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll let you answer that one since I took the first one, but I can follow up with whatever you say.
Let's see. I mean, I think that especially if you've been working regionally already, then there are all the things that you've been doing regionally obviously still work here, and that mindset of how are you finding your own work. In terms of in specifically places to find auditions, I think that figuring out how to build relationships with the casting directors in LA is a great thing, because they can start calling you in, and they can also refer you to LA agents, right? So so if that means doing a workshop or seeing how to what different casting directors have going. I know Elaine Craig does a brilliant working pro workout a couple times a year that is really, really powerful, and she's a fantastic person and a fantastic person to know. So I think starting to build direct relationships with casting directors is very good. VoiceCaster has workouts. VoiceCaster also has VO and Go. So if you have an audition, you can pay $10 and work with one of their directors, so they get to know you and you're on their radar. I think that's a really great way to go. And then, in addition to keeping up whatever you've been doing in the regional markets that you've been doing. How about you, Dan? Anything to add?
Well, we had Lisa Orkin on our show, Voice Over Body Shop, on Monday night, and she was fabulous. And she was somebody who was making a living here in Hollywood for the late 80s and into the 90s, and then as a lot of voice actors here in LA found out, well, that kind of market really doesn't exist the way it used to. And the way you make a living at voiceover today is you've got to be an entrepreneur. You've got to go out there and you've got to find your own work. And if you're just looking for auditions, that's fine and dandy. That's part of your business plan. That's part of the marketing tools you have. But you've got to pick up the phone, and you've got to pick up your word processing and your email, and you've got to find people. Call production houses, call advertising agencies. Hey, I'm here. Here's my demo. You might have something that, there's a lot of stories about people who've had the chutzpah to get up and do that. And they just happen, if you make, 20 calls a day, you might hit somebody who's like, I was just about thinking about doing that. And you're the first person on their mind. And that's how you find work, and that's how you create clients that you maintain. And that is the key to voiceover today. This old model of, I'm in LA, I have to have an agent. The agents are struggling. So, that's not where you want to be. I mean, yeah, it's good to have an agent, and it's good to find yourself on some rosters and make some friends in certain places and see if you can get on some of the audition rosters. They're not really agents, even though they are. But some of the production companies have their own roster of people. You got to find out who these people are. I mean, and that's usually the first question you ask somebody if you get through to the receptionist or to somebody you meet on the street, and you're able to give your elevator pitch of, hi, I'm a voice actor. Here's the question you ask, and I got in a lot of trouble for mentioning this either. Is it, who is the guy? Or more appropriately, who's the person that does the the e-learning production in your company? Who's the person that does the public relations and sends out information? Who's the person producing video for you? And get yourself to that person and make that happen. If you're going to try and get into voiceover and say, well, I'm just going to look for auditions and see what happens, you're going to be doing an awful lot of auditions that are going to, it's not that you're not good, it's that you may not be right for a lot of the projects you're auditioning for. And, you'll get depressed really fast. Keep doing that, but be very proactive and do what it takes to become a good entrepreneur and sell your services.
Yeah, and I think the more that you can be out and figuring out how to cut to the chase and building relationships that cut to the chase, right? So we just and from my perspective, as I think that the more you can diversify and have as powerful a team around you in addition to what you're doing can only serve you, right? And there's something.
See, they're calling you already.
They're calling me already. Hold on. I think that there's also having, if you have someone who's getting you audition, I think that it is important to have as many agents as you can. And I think it's really important to and have relationships with people who have relationships with people at a certain level. And then also understand that it's not just, oh, I have this relationship and now everything's good. So no, everything will just take care of itself, because it really is different how things work. Yes, is that helpful? And I think it kind of answers Angie's next question. Let us know if you have any follow-up questions, Brittany, because I think the thing to also keep in mind is that coming here from a new market, people here are people who have been here for a long time are figuring out how to make it work, how to do the new thing. And people who are coming here and people who are everywhere are all figuring out how to make it work for them, right? And then the other thing about that is everyone, and I think the powerful thing about this is that everyone has different ways that their lives work and are structured, and what will be helpful to them in the life that they want to build around this career of voiceover. So, if you have a life where you can come and, just go out and do auditions and things like that, that's great. And there's ways of building a life that works for you in this. So let us know if you have any follow-up. And then Angie, I think this might segue. Angie says, I've been working with voices123.com with little booking. Even when I receive 4 stars, often I don't hear from them. So I'm not renewing it, mainly because it doesn't seem to be financially worth it. Hold on, my internet just went unstable.
You're good.
So what is the most foundational move I can make to spring into finding my own clients? I'm in Austin right now, although I'd really like to move to LA. Doing both film and voice auditions. Austin is poopy for film acting due to lack of incentives. So I'll give it a minute. It'll switch from where it is now.
They got to compete with Southern California. There's no question about it. That's a great question. One, I wouldn't leave Voice 123. I mean, it's a great system. That doesn't really act as a middleman. And we've got other pay-to-play sites now that are acting as a profitable middleman. And Voice 123 works off a different model. You get lots of different opportunities to audition for lots of different stuff. If you're not having success, it says with little booking. Is that little booking or no booking? I've been at Voice 123 for 15 years. And I've built some great clients out of Voice 123. I still get work off of it, but you might, if your ratio is 100 to 1, that's really not all that bad.
Mhm.
because there's so much stuff and there are so many people competing. It is just one little, screwdriver in your toolkit. There's lots of little things you have in your toolkit. You have a screwdriver, and you have a big screwdriver, and little screwdrivers and pliers, and the occasional blade. These are all tools you use to market. If you rely on one single thing, you're not going to succeed. You've got to try everything. And Voice 123 is a great place to be because it is a source of auditions. And it's a source for you to keep practicing, and it's a source for getting work. It always has been, always will be. It's not going to be the thing that you run your entire business on. Your entire business is going to be run on what we talked about earlier, which is you've got to take control of your marketing, and you've got to be the one that picks up the phone and types the emails and does the networking. And, it's the people who do that. And there's not a lot of them. I mean, it's possible, but the people who succeed at it are the people that do all of those things and diversify their portfolio of the type of stuff they do, and create, as Tish was saying, relationships.
Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of that, Angie, I always look at it like building as many faucets into the pipeline, like so that if you think of, okay, Voices 123 is X amount of dollars per year, I'm going to invest that money, but I have that faucet going, and so how and I understand. I understand that it seems like a lot when you're not getting any ROI back, but in the grand scheme of things, and ideally, how you're thinking about the business, as a bigger business, a $400 investment to have a $400 investment to have a potential faucet where money can be coming out is, over the course of a year, not that much. So ideally, you have a vision of your business that will be making much more than $400, right? And I understand it's really frustrating when you're spending $400 and not getting anything back. So let's see. I think that and then I think that another thing to do is to kind of take a look at what's up with your demos, and check in and how are your auditions going. We have a great gal who came through the Dojo program, sort of in a place where she had done everything. She had come from a business background, so she was, and a marketing background, so she was like boom, 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 doing everything like she was supposed to do with Voices 123. She was auditioning consistently. She was following up and doing things, and not getting as much response. And when I listened to her demo, you could hear that it was good, that she had a great voice and a sensibility, but the demo wasn't serving her, wasn't working at a level that would make me go like, oh yeah, that's the gal. So, that's another thing to reconsider. And we always want to look at the positive and where we can improve, right? What's great and where can we improve? So, but that, if it's not working the way you want to, keep on turning it around to think about, oh, well, what else? Which just sounds like what you're doing. And then, frankly, if moving to LA is something that you want to do, then keep your eyes on the prize, but be doing what you're doing where you are. In Austin, TAG is in Austin. They're some of the most lovely people who are doing some of the really great work in terms of getting people access. So keep on exploring what you have here, and then if your eye is on the prize, then keep that going.
It should also be mentioned that moving into LA is not an easy proposition. We got an awful lot of people living on the street here. They're not voice actors. I mean, maybe some of them are. But, the thing is that you have to be prepared to come here. You've got to be professionally prepared to come here. Otherwise, you'll be coming here with a full van and leaving with an empty one.
Good.
You know, I mean, it's pretty important that you are ready to be here. The thing is once you're here, there are far more resources here to give you access to the type of stuff that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like working with the dojo, where you have connections and you can learn the art of voice acting, you know, even better, and get more of this information and be connected to what's actually going on here in LA. You know, I moved out here two years ago, but I had more than one reason for coming out here. It was, you know, not just me being in voiceover or doing my technical stuff. That was only reasons 2 and 3. Number 1 had to do with you know, better education for my younger son. But you know, now that I'm here, I'm of course taking advantage of all that's here. But you've got to have, I mean, even in voiceover itself, you've got to have the financial resources to support yourself while you're building your business. And if you're coming to LA to do it and you're trying to, you know, do it on, I want to be a star. Well, first off, don't come here thinking I want to be a star, despite what some people say. Well, you don't have the ambition. It's like voiceover is a job. It's work. It's a highly skilled profession, and you've got to be professionally prepared to do it and understand what the marketplace is. And just coming to LA, you're not going to, you know, not by telegeny, you're not going to get, you know, success here. It's you've got to be prepared, and you've got to understand what it takes to make it here. And you know, you can have stars in your eyes, and it's fun, and it's a glitzy place and stuff, but it's not easy. And we don't want to discourage you from doing it. If this is your passion, and if this is what you want to do, if you're willing to do what it takes to learn this as a profession and make a living at it as a profession, that's the only way to do it. If you want to do it as a hobby, LA is not the place to do it as a hobby.
Well, and I think especially now more than ever that, you know, really being clear on what the realities are and what the possibilities are always to be weighed in, and then keeping your vision and your decision to do this as the thing that keeps you moving forward, and then filling in what needs to happen is next. I'll leave it at that because we've got other questions, but if we have time, I'll come back to, actually, you know what, I'm going to say this really quick. So I'm going to do a little, wait, let me make sure I
do shadow puppets here?
I do shadow puppets, a little Indonesian thing. Okay, so real quick, this is what I call the locomotion of desire in voiceover. So if this thumb is your ambition, everything you want to do, everything you believe in, everything you know is possible, all your dreams, and you want it now, and you want it big, right? That's good. That's this side. Then this side is everything you don't know, everything you are concerned about. What are you afraid of? What are your doubts? Where are you overwhelmed? All those things, right? So the idea of the locomotion, the locomotive of desire is, how do you always keep these two things working together to keep your momentum moving forward? So, that you have the things moving, that you're on voices 1, 2, 3. You're ahead of the game of people who are like, oh yeah, I should try that. You're doing it, right? And you're in a market, and you're getting things going. So you've got that. You have this ambition or a dream or vision that, wow, it would be really cool to be in LA. What would that be? And then you always go like, well, what do I need? What can I do? What don't I have? And then you do the work to do that, and that gets you further. And then you're like, wow, I can go even further. And what happens is you keep these things working together, and that becomes the momentum that moves you forward. But we're always doing this, and we're always doing this. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm always recalibrating. But what else can I do? What else can I do? Wow, I want to be working on something else. What is the next vision? So we're always doing this. Hopefully that's helpful. Cool. Let's pursue some other questions. This is great. Pat asks, I live in a small city. What are the initial steps that I should take to find representation? Which small city do you live in, Pat? Let me find the chat. Can you answer in the chat? Where's my chat?
Hanover. Is that Hanover, New Hampshire? Hanover,
Where's
Virginia?
PA?
Hanover, Pennsylvania. Okay.
Okay, cool. So, so actually, well, first of all, once again, thinking about it as, making sure that your demos are in a place that you're going to be serving people. How is your demo serving people? Looking for the thing about it now is that it doesn't matter where you are in terms of finding representation. You can be living in Hanover and have representation in Austin or San Francisco or Atlanta. So it's not that you have to have a brick and mortar relationship with representation nowadays. So that's one thing. So make sure your demos are good. Start looking at what the opportunities are. And then I always like to encourage people to look for representation. First of all, articulate what it is that you're looking for, right? Finding representation is finding someone who you are choosing to have on your team to help you navigate to what you want to do. So A, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? Who are the best people to do that? And what are you looking for in representation? So switching the mentality from, would you like to represent me? I submit myself. I submit. That you're in control. So articulate what it is that you want first. And then find people who are doing that. And then I always like to look through relationship. So who knows that representative? Who would be someone that if they called that representative, they'd be like, I just worked with.
And there she is.
I'm back.
I was just taking over for you. So
no worries. Were you in the middle of a thought?
Yeah. I was just explaining as you were saying that there are independent you to find which regions they're in, where they're located. I know of an excellent one in Atlanta. I know of one in Austin because he's my agent. He's rather well known. And find out who the agents are in different places. Now, I'll tell a quick story here, just to nail down the point of what you need to do. I used to teach social studies. It was about 17, 18 years ago. The internet had already been around. And a kid came up to me and he says, I have to do a report on medieval religious icons. How do I find that? And I'm like, all right, come over here to the computer and type in medieval religious icons. And of course, things started to pop up. So I use that story because you've got to do your research. You got to find your resources. Type in agents in Atlanta, voiceover agents in Minneapolis, voiceover agents in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or Cleveland or something along those lines. Find out who the regional agents are. Pick up the phone and say, "Hi, I'm so and so." Have the chutzpah to do that. That's what's going to get you in the door. And say, I would like to send you my demo, and then follow up on it. Mm-hmm. It's not a magic formula. It's just how you do business anywhere. This is not fantasy land. This is business. We're entrepreneurs. We're running a business here. We're not here to be stars or to have big egos or any of that stuff. We're here to do what we love to do, which is doing voiceover and acting and doing what it takes to get there. It's not up to somebody else. It's really up to you.
Yeah. And I think also in the same way that you step into looking for any representation as you're in the driver's seat and who do you want on your team helping you navigate, really being super clear on what you're bringing to the party. How are you benefiting? Why would I want you on? Reversing it, why would I want you on my team? What are you bringing to the party? So
right.
That's a big thing. So hopefully it's helpful. The voiceover resource guide has agencies listed. Voicebank.net has all of the agencies represented. Caveat, anything with voicebank.net is now owned by voices.com. which which you have to determine for yourself whether you want to do business with them in terms of how they run business. It's a great source of information in terms of working with them. Be aware of their practices and how they may or may not serve your practices. But as a resource, voicebank.net is still has a roster of everybody in North America, and I think even some international stuff. So you can research there, type in East Coast. Now, Dan, real quick, since Pennsylvania is sort of in that East Coast place, as someone who worked in the Buffalo market, are there brick and mortar? Are there places that you worked with?
I remember early on, I was looking for agents in Buffalo, and what I found were, modeling agents. And they would find me TV work and stuff like that. There really wasn't anybody there. But in New York, there certainly are. New York City, there are, definitely in Cleveland and Chicago. Chicago is actually a pretty big market. Dallas, while Hollywood might be the center of the commercial voiceover universe, you got to remember 95% of the work that's available in voiceover is not in commercials. It's in e-learning and documentary narration and working with private organizations who are doing promotional videos or explainer videos or audiobooks. There's just so much work out there, and if you're going to concentrate on being an announcer on radio commercials, you're really talking to a big pool of not so much stuff. So it's always better to be in a large pool with lots of stuff that you can pick and choose and find what you're good at, instead of trying to specialize in one specific area. I would also say, in reference to the question about agents, understand what it is that agents want. They're not there as a social service agency. They're not there to make you feel good. They're not there to help you out unless you can make them money. And you've got to have a track record of making money. They're not going to really take a chance on somebody unless they think they're really, really good and have at least a little bit of experience. They're not going to take someone from zero to hero like that. You've got to be good at what you do. You believe you're good at what you do, and that's really important. But you've got to have a track record in order to get an agent. I mean, I spent all these years doing it, and I talk to agents, and I have representation in a bunch of different places. But I said, look, here's the kind of stuff I do, and here's the kind of money I'm making, but they also liked what I was able to do, so they took me on. But it wasn't a matter of they're not out there looking; they're out there waiting to see who comes along, and they're busy trying to get work for their own clients, which is not an easy proposition either.
Right. Good. So guys, when I dropped out, unfortunately the questions cleared. So
I still have them here.
Okay, great. Can you give us the next question in the queue?
Sure. Yeah. Angie asked, also, I must get a new commercial demo and animation demo and cannot figure out who's the best person to help me do this. Too many choices, too many. I'm the best from all these producers, etc. My forte is animation and probably kids e-learning. Okay. Getting a demo done. First off, if you want to spend a lot of money getting a demo done, do it with somebody who specializes in that particular area of what you're trying to do. Demos, I have my own opinions about demos. I suppose I could probably express them. You need a demo for your website. You need a demo on Voice 123 and places like that, so people can get an idea of what your voice sounds like. But the cost of these things is outrageous. And people who produce demos, to me, it's important that they are tremendous directors and good copywriters and understand you. They're not a demo mill. They're somebody who knows what your voice is, what your strengths are, and will get copy for you that will accentuate your voice and show what you do best. And there's a lot of people out there who are just producing demos because they know how. Doesn't mean that they know how to do it well. And there are some people who are excellent at it. And the really good ones work with people they know. They're not just out there soliciting business and saying, "Oh, my demos are going to get you work." It's not their demos that are going to get you work. It's you that's going to get your work.
Right.
If you go into somebody's studio and they're like, "I got a great studio. I'm a great producer. We're going to make you sound fabulous." That's fabulous. Except that someone's going to hear your demo and say, "Hey, that was fabulous." Are you going to be able to walk into your studio or their studio and reproduce what was done in that? And I think that's a huge piece of mythology that is, that permeates a lot of people trying to get into the business. You've got to be professionally prepared. Gee, have I said that enough, Tish? You've got to be professionally prepared and ready to do a demo. Mm-hmm. Now, in the interim, practice, record yourself. If you want to do animation, do a bunch of different funny voices and find some copy and create your own. Which it's not that hard.
Which is how you get ready to choose. And then I think the question also is, how do you choose? And I think it goes back to what we were just talking about in terms of representation. Talk to a bunch of different people, talk to them and see how you feel, right? Talk to them about their process. Does that resonate with you? Does that make sense to you? Do you feel in good hands? Figure out what they know about the markets that you're interested in working in, right? Because someone who doesn't understand the LA animation market, and that's what you want to invest. And if you're investing money in a demo that you want to serve you in a certain market, then you want to make sure that both your skills and your demo reflect being able to be competitive in that market.
So Tish, does the VO Dojo do demos?
We do not do demos per se, but we work with some. What we do is help you with that decision-making process, because we have relationships with fantastic demo producers that I personally have vetted and talked to about their process. And so when you're in the mastery program, when you're working with the dojo, we're training you, like we're giving you, we're running you through everything you need to know to have the skills so that when you're ready to record your demo, you're prepared beyond that is the idea, what Dan was talking about. And then we work with we have various dojo approved demo producers here, and I'm starting to gather people from around the country too, so that it allows you to go. My philosophy is, you will not go wrong working with any of these people. We'll help you get clarified on what you're bringing to the voiceover party, where your skill set is, and help you know, like, yep, you're ready. And guiding, like, are you ready? Can you do this? Can you do this, this, and this? This is what we're looking for. So it's a mutual choice. It's not just like, yep, you're ready, or I'm ready, and we'll say, maybe not. So then you stepping up and meeting people and making a decision for yourself. So we help narrow it down, because it is overwhelming. It really is overwhelming, and especially when you don't have your bearings, right? I don't know. I think a really good thing to do is to listen to demos. So once again, using the resource of voicebank.net, look at the agencies that you want to be working with. Listen to the demos. What catches your ear? What is appealing to you? What makes sense? What hits your heart? What makes you feel something? What makes you go like, whoa, that was great? And then when you're listening to the demo producers that you want to work with, what hits your ear in the same way? What hits your heart in the same way? So it's really, once again, taking the reins and gathering the information. So thank you for that, for clarifying that, Dan. And that also is sort of what the dojo is designed to do, just streamline things. So when you come, there's so many choices there's so many things in every point of your journey from I don't know to working pro that you're like, I don't know, I could do anything. So the idea of streamlining it so that you're able to focus and just keep everything moving forward. One other thing that I usually say about demos is you want to think everyone's on their own gestation period, but there's a certain amount of time in terms of your preparation and how ready you are. And think of it like a gestation period with a baby, right? You could be so excited to have your baby, and somebody could make it be born at 6 months, but you would not like your baby to be born at 6 months. You will probably spend 3 months in the ICU, and hopefully everything will turn out. It's a little bit visceral, but in terms of when are you making your demo, how are you making your demo, that it's a really good vision to keep in mind, which might be a little off what you were asking, but there's some stuff about demos. What other questions do we have?
Let's see here. Well, continuing on in the demo mode here. Let's see here. Brittany Cox asks, should you have an animation demo and a video game demo, or is it normal to just have a character demo? I've seen places that have both. From what I've seen, gaming voice work is very, very specific. You've got to be able to show that you can do and do it for long periods of time. I think you probably, if you want to specifically do game work, I would specifically get a game demo and have a character demo. One of the things I think people don't get is that you want to be able to highlight all of the different things that you can do. You want people to be able to see, find you in all sorts of different places doing lots of different things. And you might want to have some very, very specific types of demos and maybe have quite a few, but you got to be good.
Right.
Don't do it unless you feel confident that it's something that's going to get you work. And, but you should have as many demos as you can in each different genre. So you need to have a commercial demo. You need to have, a gaming character demo. You need to have an animation demo if you want to do those sorts of things. So,
yeah, and I think that once again, thinking from what is it that you're after. So if animation and video games are things that you want to do, I think that you can, if you're just going to do an animation and a video game, to make sure that you have things that can serve both. You know what I mean? I think if you're really going after video game work, it could serve you to have just the range of video game things, because you want to think of your demo as how is this demo solving who I want to work with's problem, right? So if you know that you are really focused on video games, then the more you can be like, hello, video game producer, I am so focused on this, and this is the range of what I can do. This is what I understand about the business, and you can put this in, and it will be only in the context. Every second of that 60 seconds you're listening to will be only in the context of what will make sense to you and be applicable to what you're doing. Whereas opposed, you have a little kid's voice, that's not, which might be in a video game, but, that is totally in another realm or energy or different thing, it might not serve them. So that's a way to think about it. But I think that you can put together a mindful animation and video game that will serve you as well, if that's helpful. We've got just a few more minutes. Do we have questions that we can just kind of pop through, Dan?
Yeah, we can. Let's see here. Here's one from far away. Hi, Diego from Uruguay. What a great place. I'm registered in many web search engines and similar to Voice 123, but this, I think, is to get an agent is kind of new. Can you recommend the best sites to get an agent? I work in voiceover in English, British, American, and Spanish, Latin American, neutral, and from my country. I think you already answered that, but go on VoiceBank to find agents, but also just type in voiceover agents in Latin America, voiceover agents in in the U.S.
And then who has Spanish speaking departments?
Right, and there are a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I, there's a thriving voiceover community in South America, especially in Brazil and Argentina, and various other places there, and so use the resources that are there. I will say, if you're looking for some help, I'm on the board of directors of World Voices Organization, which is the industry association of freelance voice talent, and we'd like people to join and be part of the conversation and part of trying to make the industry a better place. One of the things that we've just instituted is Spanish translation of everything we're doing, and it's sort of like an affiliate of what we're doing. We're calling it Wovo en Español. We were going to call it Wovo Span, but we're like, I don't know if that's that well. But so it can be Wovo Español. All the stuff that we're talking about is going to be translated, and there'll be special content for Spanish speakers as well. So that's something you might want to look at. Go to world-voices.org. And
it's a great resource for everyone, but particularly that. And then I'm assuming that you're already part of the community in Uruguay, but like being at things like VoiceOver Atlanta, they had a huge Spanish contingency, like 36 countries or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, Tish, what is the capital of Uruguay?
I don't remember.
Montevideo.
Montevideo, of course.
That's probably where Diego was calling from.
Good. So hopefully that's helpful. I think that, and once again, what are you trying to do? And how can you use an agent on your team? So, find out what's happening where you're at, both in Uruguay and in the South American market, and then in the Spanish-speaking market in general. Well, that's good. Okay, so we've got 5 more minutes. One more quick question.
Let's see here. Well, Angie asks a great question that I think you can probably answer very quickly. So Tish,
no more.
I've contemplated signing up for your classes, as I feel you're one of the most genuine and knowledgeable of all.
Oh, well, you should. But
could we have a 10-minute powwow and discuss the best step forward?
Absolutely.
Do we not?
Yes, and everybody, and this is actually segues into the closing stuff that I wanted to talk about. Everybody can always get on my calendar for a voiceover once-over call, which is, like a 15, 20-minute call that allows me to get a sense where you are, where we're actually talking, not just typing, because I can't hear your voice. But yeah, get a sense where you are and where you want to be, and then you already have a sense of who I am and who we are, and kind of what we're doing here. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Would love to talk with you. You can go to the website, www.thevodojo.com, and get on the calendar. It seems like everybody is sort of in a bit more advanced place, but at the dojo we have something for everybody in terms of the journey. It's really designed to incorporate the whole process. So wherever you are on your journey, there's something going on at the dojo. So if you're just starting out, we have our intro class is called You Should Do Voiceover Intensive. We do that as a 6-week intensive virtually, which is coming up the middle of October. So if you're interested in that, call me today, because hop on my calendar today, because we're getting that filled up. And then we also do it as a live weekend intensive. The next one will in LA, which you can fly into if you want, and that will happen in January. If you're on your journey, usually I encourage people to take the intensive so that you can be have a know we're all on the same page. And then there's various levels of the Mystery to Mastery program that you can jump into. That next session will start in January, but call me, we can talk now. And then if you're a working pro, we have the working pro workouts. One is called the Nth Degree, which is a weekly workout that includes accountability and self-direction, and also includes a fight club. And then we have the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club, which is our working pro workout that brings together top-notch talent with the decision makers who hire us. And like we just had JJ Jurgens, CBS promo producer, as our last virtual. We have Ned Lott, who's worked with Disney and Pixar and Miyazaki. He casts Miyazaki animation. I'm so excited to talk with him. He's coming up live in LA. So wherever you are, there's something we can talk about. So, and then Dan, can you tell folks, I was so excited because I got to be a guest on Voiceover Body Shop with Dan and his cohort, George Whittam. But can you tell them about VOBS and Home Studio Masters? And
why certainly. Yes. First off, I am the Home Studio Master. I am a professional consultant teaching those of you who are not knowledgeable on how to create a home voiceover studio. It's a lot easier than you might think, but you got to have somebody who actually knows how it's done. You're not going to be building a voiceover palace. You're going to be building or creating a section of your home or where you live where you can record in a quiet place that is also not sound reflective. And I teach you how to do that. What my philosophy is keeping it simple and knowing what it's supposed to sound like. Or the acronym I discovered totally by accident, WHISTLE. It's what it's supposed to sound like. You've got to. It's not supposed to sound like it's on the radio, and I can determine if your sound is where it needs to be. And one of the ways you can do that is go to my website, which is homevoiceoverstudio.com, and at the bottom of the homepage there is a specimen collection cup, and you can click on that. And that will take you to a Dropbox. Just drop me a piece of your audio. Let me give it a listen. Let me see what's going on in your studio. And if I think you need some further consultation, we can talk about that. The other thing that I've been involved with for the last 6 years with my co-host George Whittam is a program on Monday nights called Voiceover Body Shop, or VOBS. We've been doing this. We have a great time doing it. George and I talk about home voiceover studio technology. We answer questions. We try to set people straight on what's really involved in doing this. We review equipment. We do all sorts of stuff. But the majority of the show is taken up by guests who are the top people in the business: educators, agents, casting directors, creative directors. We had Lisa Orkin on the other night, the daughter of Dick Orkin. You're probably like, who's that? Well, if you've ever been in radio, you know who Dick Orkin is. But she's the creative director at a place called the Radio Ranch. And she writes copy and creates and directs and produces radio commercials. And we did a brainstorming session, which was a lot of fun, showing what is the process that goes into creating the copy that we all get to read and audition for, or and if we're right for it, we get to record. It's a lot of fun. It's a great community. We have an interactive chat room, and usually there are people talking to each other, sort of watching the show and probably making fun of us. But it's a great time, and we get great guests on there, and there's a lot of good information. And it's Monday night. All you have to do is go to VOBS.tv, and you can go there now, and you can see the 94 episodes that we've already done here in Southern California.
Great resource, guys, and it's super fun. Really great place to hang out. So, let's see. I'm screwy on time here.
It is 10:55.
10:55. Okay. Um, Excellent. I for some reason, I got my crescendo or my decrescendo mixed up. I was bringing us in for a landing. But I guess we have a wee bit last time. Well, here's a question that Patricia asks. It that could be a general question. Do you think the current vogue for VO talent to identify them as voice actors versus voice artists or talent? I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter.
It really
It
doesn't.
kind of is what resonates with you. What are you putting forth? What do you think of yourself as? I think they all get the job done. And if one strikes you as one way, like, oh, that's pretentious, or that's, I think they all get the job done. So I think it's mostly how are you presenting yourself? How do you think of yourself, and how are you putting yourself forward? Any thoughts on that, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, I use them all interchangeably. I am an actor because it's acting. That's what voiceover is. You've got to be a good actor, not just having a great voice. You're a voice talent because you can do lots of different things. You're a voice-over artist because that's what we do. So you can use all of those, and sometimes just say, I'm a voice actor, voice talent, voiceover artist. You can say all of those, and all the same thing.
Yeah. So I think once again, it's what you put forward. Cool. Any other last questions that I can't see, Dan?
Let's see here. Well, a couple of people asking for some clarification, and let's see here. Voicebank.net and world-voices.org. Someone was looking for. And then an anonymous attendee asked something about booking a consult and made a mistake on some time. So
Cool. Yeah, all that
you'll be able to
contact us, and we'll be able to take care of it. These recordings will be sent. A link to this recording will be sent to you. And we're here the first Wednesday of every month. So thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to getting to talk to you more. Are there any questions that we missed?
I think that's everything.
Nice. Well done, us. And
Yes.
everybody, really good questions. If you have other questions, feel free to save them up for next month, but give us a call. So appreciate you being here, and love being able to keep things moving forward for you. What else? Tell people about this. Tell people about this resource, and about what's going on at Dojo and VOBS and everything else. And thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you next month. And there it is. Thanks so much, Dan.
And that's all for tonight, folks. So that's all, folks.
Thanks so much. I look forward to talking with you guys. Bye.